Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today. And we'll get started in just one moment. We'll let everybody get a chance to join in today. Dave Miller, I'm president here at EMAM. I have with me Chuck Bulow. He's our VP Business Development. We will answer questions at the end. If we have a chance, we'll answer them during the session. We will record today's session. So let us know if you would like a recording. And we're very excited to present today some of the things we've done for Red camera workflows. And thank you for your interest today. And let me introduce Chuck Bulow. He's our VP Business Development, and we're seeing his screen. So he's going to present. If you have any questions, again, put them in the question tab. And thank you again for your interest.
All right. So we'll go through a few slides here, kind of describing what the workflows all entail and how we've kind of pulled this thing together for our customers. So first off, looking at the Red camera challenges. So again, if you are using Red cameras, you'll know that the structure of the files are a little bit different than most. In some camera cards, we also support as well. Indexing and ingesting those. But the key thing is that us being able to create a proxy file that then is made available for viewing within our application, and then still having the structure of the Red files, and then being able to import those into the Adobe Premiere or DaVinci type workflows and so on, and also Avid as well. But again, the structure itself, if you were to just go in and try to ingest these files, it would be individual files and so on. So it would have a hard time, having to span or have one proxy file span over all the different R3D files. So that's really what the challenges are in looking at that. But looking at this file, the folder structure, as we just saw, basically, having the different folder structure with the different types of files that are in there. Also, the different cameras having different formats as well that are supported. But again, these files are split up at 4 gigs per clip and so on. And then those multiple clips then, of course, represent then the entire video. So in some cases, what we're having to do then is stitch this together using a transcoder and then being able to then create that proxy file with it. Now, being able to copy those files and putting them onto a NAS or a SAN for us then to ingest, we need a way in which to kind of process that media and bring it into the EMAM system. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But what we're doing is the ability to copy or index from the source. Those are the different options we have. And we have an application called eFeeder. Now, eFeeder then scans that folder structure, detects that it is Red camera content. So that's the very first thing. So when we go in and look at the eFeeder, you'll see that when we select a folder, it'll then understand that it is Red clips, and then can be treated then all of those clips then as a single file that we're going to then transcode and create that proxy so you can preview. But again, maintaining that structure of the R3D files, file folder structure, and so on. And the main thing is that you can then edit that content in your editors there as well. So what we have is this eFeeder application. And so with the eFeeder application, then I'm able to go in and browse and select that folder. And then by selecting that folder and then selecting either index from source or index from copy and then index, meaning either I'm indexing the media and bringing it in from the source location, or I'm going to take that from the source location and copy it into another folder that may be even near the EMAM system or near the transcoders that we have. Now, there's also a part of this where we're creating an XML profile sidecar with the media, and then we can process that sidecar information and then put that into the MAM system as well. So again, the first thing that we're doing here, looking at the media itself, is it still on a source drive, or would you like us to copy it off a source drive and location and then copy it into another location and then index from there as well? So those are the different options and so on. Now, typically in a MAM though, when we do index media or bring media into the MAM system, we create this UUID. Now, with this whole process, we're eliminating that option. So there is no UUID associated with the original files and so on. And that then makes it also very easy for us to then edit that into Adobe Premiere. So again, indexing again from a local storage or a source drive and then copying it to another storage location where you're wanting to keep the media. So that just depends on the different workflows that you have in different situations that you have. So now, the way we've done this is with the EMAM system, you'll select first off that folder with the files in them, and then select then index from source or index from or copy and then index the media onto another local drive. And then at that point, we have an ingest profile that is an XML ingest or ingest the sidecar. That XML then describes exactly where the media is and what the media is all about to EMAM. And then when we're ingesting that media, that's then where we're going to trigger the transcode and create the proxy, but keep everything, the source media or the original R3D files intact and so on. And we're going to show you here how that's done here in a second. So now this is kind of an example of what we're putting together for EMAM to read. We do have an option within EMAM to read sidecar information. We read all types of media that comes in from third-party systems like EVS and others. And then we are able to then script it and transform that into what we call our XML ingest profile. And then that gives us all the information about the media, where it's located, and then how we're going to kind of piece things together. And then, of course, also how it's going to be ingested into the MAM system. So in the way that works is we are utilizing in this particular demonstration the EMAM Drastic NetX Convert. It is a transcoder from Drastic Technologies that then allows us to create that proxy file from that list of different files, R3D files. And so we're able to then create one proxy file that spans across all of those files that represent all of those files. And then users are able to then to go in, create subclips and various things. But for the most part, they can go in and log that media and then drop that into a sequence within, say, Adobe Premiere or DaVinci or Avid there as well. So now, what happens when the media comes in? We create that proxy. The proxy goes into the MAM system, but the way we keep all of the R3D files together is through what we call our Essence widget. And so this is all the associated files, which would list out every single R3D file inside of here, and it's linked with this asset, with that proxy. And so no matter where this file goes, if you import this file into Adobe Premiere, so goes all of these individual files, and they come in as one asset inside of the Adobe Premiere, say through the Adobe Premiere panel. And so that's really, really key. So keeping the essence of the original files of the red camera files, and then of course also having just a very nice, easy way to preview the media, not only within EMAM Director, but then also within Adobe Premiere. So, and so this is how it looks. So when the media does come in, there's representation here of the R3D. And then with that then is a proxy file. And then this is the Essence widget. And then this lists out exactly where we had stored. Again, that was a copy or index from source. That's where those files will be located. and then accessible by the users, and then of course imported into, say, Adobe Premiere, for example, there as well. So this is how it's represented. And again, it's tied to this one asset, and it always goes for that asset. So if I hit delivery of this asset, or I import that into Adobe Premiere, for example, through the panel, which we'll do in this demo here, is that all of these intact R3D files go intact and then travel with the asset. All right. There's some good information. You know, I'm not a red camera person, haven't used one before, but there's some good articles out there that talk about, you know, kind of how to go and shoot with the red camera, and of course all the different types of workflows you can do in the color space and gamma space and so on. That's also really important, because when we're also transcoding this, we're maintaining that within that proxy, or trying to at least emulate as much of the color information within the proxy, so you don't get something that's washed out or wrong colors and so on as well. But again, just different articles that are out there as well. All right, so let's go into the demo real quick. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump over to this workstation that I have here. This is EMAM. And so this is the R3D file that was imported for our demo. And then this is the EMAM feeder application. So the way this works is, okay, so I've copied the folder of all of the R3D files onto my local drive here on this workstation. And then what I'm going to do is go ahead and index those. So this is the folder, and this is the Demo Raptor 8K Pelican video we downloaded for that. So that's where those files represent. And then of course in that folder is all the R3D files. Now we're going to index from source here, because this is the exact location. We don't need to copy it anywhere. It's already on my drive, so I can just go ahead and ingest directly from that location. And then the next step that you have is you're going to go ahead and select the ingest profile, which of course is the sidecar ingest. And then we can also dictate exactly where those files or the assets will be located as far as category structure. So category structure inside of EMAM is similar to a file folder structure. And within that, I'm assigning this media and this asset to that category. And then of course, under categories, you can do permissions and then assign users or user groups to that category. And then of course, they have access to the media. So that's kind of how we manage things. And then also you can go in for the asset itself. You can go in and build out your own custom metadata set, and then be able to then add any kind of metadata to that. So normally what I would do is hit the save button here and then hit the index and then upload. It'll probably give me an error because I've already got the media already there, but we'll go ahead and let that sit there just for now. I'm not going to go ahead and hit the upload. But what it's done is it's prepped everything, and then there's that XML file that that I showed you that has been produced out of all of this. So it's looked at the media, referenced the media, understood the media, and then created the XML for the upload. And then that XML is going to be then ingested into the MAM system. And that information from the XML then will trigger, EMAM will trigger then the workflow for drastic NetX convert to convert those files into a proxy for spanning across the video. By the way, Telestream also has an option for it's Flip 64 in Vantage that also does the same process as well. But NetX convert, we're just using this for the process here. And then of course, then I can go ahead and hit the upload. But like in cooking shows, I've already baked in the cake in the oven here. So with that then, I have the asset. I have then all of the relative related R3D files. And then of course, now I have a nice smooth proxy file. I'm not sure how that comes over in WebEx, but it's nice and smooth here on my machine there as well. But the idea now is that is available for someone then to go ahead and import into Adobe Premiere for editing. So we'll jump over to Adobe Premiere, and then through the panel, so this is our panel here. And of course, you know, with the panel, I can look at projects or import projects. I can look at assets based on category structure. So if I wanted to, I could actually bring in that asset, the Pelican video into it here as a group. So if there are multiple files inside of that category that were assigned there, I could import those, and this would import in as a bin into my Premiere panel or Premiere work project here. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and let's go most recent. And with that, then let's see. No, it just changed. I'm going to look for that Pelican video. I think it's probably already at the bottom here. Of course, you just changed. Where'd you go? My Pelican. Okay. All right. Good question. I know it had a W in it, so we'll go in and look for that real quick. Let me refresh here real quick. And there it is. There we go. Sorry about that. So again, within the panel, we can go ahead and actually do the preview. This is not in the project yet. So I'm actually using the proxy preview within the panel for EMAM. And so this is looking inside of the EMAM system here. And then of course I can look at all the metadata, any kind of history that just shows that today I uploaded this video, any kind of comments that were applied. I could actually even send this out for review and approve if I'd like. And then also we do keep track of different versions. So if there were multiple versions of this particular video, we could also preview that as well. But the idea here is that with that asset, then I can go ahead and select the import button. Now, my workstation is here locally, so I can actually go in and just link with the original media. We have options for localizing and of course streaming, but in this case here, because I'm local to the media and local to the system, I can then import it directly, and of course it pops into my project directly. So having this, and of course Red being remote and editing might be a little bit difficult, but more so if you're close to the media, you can go ahead and import and link that directly. So again, we can look at this, and then any kind of preview I can do here as well, create that sequence, and then sequence from that clip. And then at this point, you know, I can go in and start looking for other assets as well, bringing in logos, bringing in various other types of media and so on in here. And then with the EMAM system, I can also then export back out that project file and then upload this EMAM system, EMAM project that I have here in my Premiere. The file's already up in the EMAM system, so it doesn't have to upload anything. If I wanted to from this, I could go and create then a sequence using my local media encoder. And then of course, any other assets that are there, I could upload via the server, project details here, locations of where any new media might be going up into the system. And then of course, also the metadata here as well. This is typically for any new media that's going up into the MAM system. And then I can go ahead and just hit the add button here. And then, whoops, select the category. We'll select projects. Try that again. And then of course, now what has happened is in the panel and in the EMAM system now, I have then that red camera project already for someone or myself. I could check it out later, but also check that out as well. So again, kind of going back with the system here, whoops, I'll get rid of that. With this system here, let me switch back over, is the ability then to go ahead, upload this media, index the media, the red camera files, keep the associated files intact, and then make them available for edits and proxy, and then utilizing our transcoder to be able to then create that proxy that's viewable inside of the EMAM system. All right, so Dave, that is it. I'll switch back over to the PowerPoint and then see if there's any questions.
Great, thanks a lot, Chuck. Yeah, and again, thanks for everybody for joining in today. If you have any more questions, please put them in the question window. So to review, the media was local and the system was cloud, but you know, could be any combination. It could be all in the cloud, which may be a challenge to get read to the cloud, or it could be certainly all local. Depends on whatever is most appropriate. See if there's some other questions. This is kind of available now, so happy to have you test it or look at it. So that's, and other questions? I mean, obviously this is a very focused workflow, so we have a lot of more basic webinars. You can request recordings or information, look at our YouTube page, look at our website for some more basic questions. See if there's any more questions that weren't answered in the session. And a little quiet time now, but we'll be at IBC. We just did some shows in Asia. But yeah, let us know. And I'll give people another minute to see if there's any more questions on the session. I think we answered most of them. So, but again, reach out to us, reach out to some of our partners if you want to look at this or other workflows or any questions we didn't answer today. But very excited to share this with you today. And yes, sorry, Chuck, I answered them all for you. In any case, thanks everybody for joining in today. Have a wonderful day, night, afternoon, and we have a recording of today's session. If you want a recording or if there's any other questions, let us know. If not, we'll wrap it up here. Thanks, everybody.